Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Radio. This is the Psychic Hour. I'm Kelly Brickle, and every week we do an interview series and a reading show. And today is the reading show where you can have your questions answered. If you have, let's say, a question about like career or a project you're working on, or more insight with relationship, health. These are mini readings, but it is a way to go into an energy that is with you. Could be a surface energy we pick up on if I have a guest or myself. Or it could be something a little bit more depth. You never know what's going to happen because you only have a couple of minutes to dive right in. But they're very helpful and beautiful, the readings, whether they are gentle or more deep. So we will get into readings in a little bit. We always do it about, 10, 15 minutes in. We talk first. And if you have a question about your spiritual development, psychic mediumship, healing, this is also the place for it. I love giving you my end of experience with how I felt energy or how I handle readings or my experiences. I've been doing this work for, professionally, over 10 years, and then developing for definitely over that. I'd have to do the math, but definitely like over 15 years. And I went through various stages of my development. And at first, it was a lot of meditating, a lot of reading, and a lot of just sensing energy and learning about, like, hey, like, what's going on? Why do I feel certain things? Why am I called to certain things? Sometimes it's about the why rather than the what. And sometimes it's about different things for different people when they first opened up. When I first opened up, I didn't exactly know that my experiences were psychic or mediumship based. I just didn't know. I was thinking like, wow, I'm being like overtly sensitive, or I need a lot of alone time just to process my thoughts or to feel my feelings. On one hand, they feel intense. On the other hand, just to make sense of things because I just feel very busy or overwhelmed, or I feel very, very different. Um, when you walk through the world and let's say you interact with it and you're like, okay, like this is the world. And then one day, you start noticing that your body starts sensing and feeling things in an incredibly different way, sometimes obvious, sometimes not obvious ways. You start to go, I feel weird walking outside, right? I feel weird, if of course being in large crowds, or I feel weird being in environments with lots of people, because not that you know what's going on with people, you're just able to feel things and it makes you feel uncomfortable. So that's, I think, a really important part to talk about, because a lot of people get really nervous or they invalidate themselves when they start the journey because, someone will go, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And you're like, I don't know. And so how do you describe something you don't know or you've never really experienced? It's quite difficult. And then people look at you as maybe odd or weird because you can't describe things in a way that's quite rational or quite put together because you're still putting it together. Um, or when people are saying, "Oh, are you into, learning about psychic and mediumship? If you really know about that stuff, like, what color am I thinking of? Like, what's my name, right?" And you're like, "I have no idea." And it's because you're learning how to sense things, you're learning how to understand things. And those are, let's say, games you can play and have fun with, and it can have result in, if you practice or if you have natural ability in. Um and that is something where you could guess someone's name, you could guess the color. I just want to let everyone know that is possible, but that's not how readings work. It's really not. Unless someone's very, very skilled and apt to, I'll say it, like, be telepathic or be very, very connected to the mind and what the mind's holding. Um, that's not how readings work. The readings work in places so much more than just the mind. So just imagine, like, you're telling someone just to go to one part of you, and you're saying, "Okay, look here. Look only here. Look here, only here, look here, only there." And you might be fantastic about guessing things, but that's not what a reading is, to guess what a person is thinking. A reading is like reading a person's energy, what they've gone through, their feelings. And there's so many places to see and look, that even if you have some experience during a reading, you might go, "Wow, why am I not picking up on anything?" Because you've might never looked there. You might have never looked in that part of someone's aura. You might have never, when you have looked there, seen something quite like that. Um, People are so different. They're like this kaleidoscope of color and emotion and experience. And when you look in certain places, because there's billions of people on the planet just existing now, that doesn't account for everyone who's ever existed, right? If we're doing like mediumship and we have a connection with a spirit that has a total different generational collection of experiences, yeah, you might go, "What's that? What's that?" And you might have to go, "Okay, hold on, let me look somewhere else, or let me like really try to like talk to this spirit. How do I figure this out?" And that's all natural and that's all normal, even with like the most experienced. And there's the internal workings of the medium, and then there's the external, outward, energy that you're faced with. And of course, the better your internal compass is that year, that month, that day, um, the more you can navigate uncomfortable or unexpected or new experiences with ease and guidance. If your knowing's on board a little bit more within yourself, you can navigate that. I'm also a big fan of physical health when it comes to readings. So everyone's so different with what their needs are, but I know if my physical health is not that great, um, I know that I can be a wonky reader. My vitality really affects my focus levels. And that might be because I have a bit of a flighty mind, right? And so for other people, their vitality would not affect their focus levels. So you have to learn about yourself in so many different ways, the way that you perceive energy, but the way that you experience energy just for yourself, what you've taken on with in the world, what you haven't processed, how healthy you are. It's so important for every individual to understand that in a different way. So let me take some questions, because I could keep going on, because it is a phenomenon trying to figure out what we're trying to figure out when we're developing. It really is. Jennifer is asking, "Okay, good afternoon. I'm open to hearing what I need to know for my journey." Okay, we'll go into that for readings. I appreciate that. I love the questions. And then Tina's asking, "Curious if I have psychic or spiritual development coming." Okay, again, another reading. I love it. I love how people are ready to go with readings. Um, and then with Christine, "Does your date of birth have anything to do with your gifts?" Okay, I believe yes. I believe yes, and I believe that there's some things that transcend, like the soul is eternal, the soul transcends, right? Our circumstance. Um, our life is very finite with how, we are right here, right now, like me as Kelly, you as um, someone else, a different identity. But our soul and our experiences, they have been quite eternal and quite long. This is for people's time on earth, it's probably not their first time. It probably isn't. And what happens is when you have a collected amount of experiences, you can tap into those at certain times. The more knowing you have within your soul, the more understanding you have of who you are. And it's not based on, what mom and dad told you you were, or brother, sister, or school peers, or work peers, or circumstances you've been given in this lifetime. There's been circumstances, good and bad, you've been given in other lifetimes, and that starts to shape who you are. And you can actually access um, not only understandings, but go, hey, like, I've always had a proclivity towards this, right? Or, you could be like, French always did come naturally to me, or wow, like I was just always very apt with just seeing things a certain way, right? With math or science, some of that is in your birth chart. Absolutely. Absolutely. And some of those things are independent. So I'm a really firm believer in both. The birth chart shows a lot of what you will find yourself doing in this lifetime, though. In numerology and astrology, it will point you to like what circumstances you happen to find yourself in, thus having to cultivate new talents and understandings or build on them. So it's actually very important. When we're born, it shapes our experience. A lot of people, I'll say it like this: everyone can be talented, everyone can have spiritual gifts. It's just a matter of what your focus on with developing those gifts will be in will be in this lifetime. When you really look at your numerology or astrology chart, there's emphasis on, you know, the trials and tribulations as well as the triumphs. So, yeah, is there anything? There's probably one thing I wanted to say more on that. Let me see if anything comes to mind. There was, how you have floating thoughts and you're like, "Oh, wait, hold on a second, that just flew away." With our gifts, it's just, I really think that when you really start to understand your charts with how you can read energy with astrology and numerology, you start going, oh, this is the way why I am the way that I am, or oh, wow, like I do things differently than other people. So there's a lot of validation in that. And you can actually go, wow, I understand myself for the first time in a different perspective. Or you can go, like, wow, okay, that's just validation because I know I'm this way. So I just kind of want to give that to you. All right. So, do we have any questions more about psychic mediumship development, psychic experiences, numerology? Before we go into readings, I always put it out there. We're going to go in just a second. I think it's so important to talk about this work because kind of gonna go to what I said in the beginning and highlight something a little further. Um, when you start developing and you're working on your knowing or your sensing, people to try to understand it, they'll be like, "Oh, well, aren't you a know-it-all?" Or "Why do you think you know that you don't?" And it's because, like, it's not black or white. It's just not. Just keep growing, keep developing. Um, and if you really find something that you have a lot of passion in, and you start really getting good at it, within this work, yeah, you do become a know-it-all. Not it all, but you do become a knower. That's your job. It's your job to know about certain type of energy. And you should. You should. Your job is to know about something that is not yet perceived by the average eye, ear, heart. It's not. And that's not unreasonable. Okay, bear with me when I say that. That is not unreasonable. Do you know why it's not unreasonable? Because a good doctor, a good talented doctor is a know-it-all within his field, or just a knower of, I have a question about this, you do this when there's a protocol. You know, Think about anyone in their field who's just fantastic and great. They just know about how to utilize that energy, but that energy has a name. Being a doctor, the medical field, being an athlete, the physics of soccer, how to dribble a ball. Wow, that person is just fantastic. And so it's something that is known already in reality, so other people can go, "Oh, look there, that's what's happening." And they can go, "Wow, I can share that experience. Let me praise you for that." That's fantastic. But in the world of energy, with how we're being sensitive on another spectrum of energy, not everyone can see it, not everyone can experience it, but people can validate it, and it still is evidence if you are accurate. And if you are accurate, you're knowing. You have to be accurate, everyone, to be a knower, though. It can't just say you're a knower. But if you're accurate and you're finding results, my goodness, yes, you're a knower. You're a knower and you are succeeding, and you're succeeding in a certain energetic way. You can give it a label or understanding if you want, and saying, "This is possible." And since this is possible, hey, someone else can do this too. It's not just me, it's not an isolated experience. And that's where I think a lot of the pointing fingers or the misunderstanding or people thinking it's bad, right? There's like, the religious views on psychic and mediumship, and they're just like, no, it's separate. It's very separate. And no, it's actually very inclusive. Everyone can do this. It's just some people are just going to have a harder time, or some people are just going to be more natural to it. It's just a skill. It's just a skill. And some skills have, a really profound effect on consciousness with humanity. Some skills have a really profound effect with how they can progress us as a race, a species, the human race. Um, I'm just putting that out there. So sometimes it's lofty, what I talk about. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's silly. But anyway, let's go into readings. And we have people already asking, which I think is wonderful. And all right. Oh wow. A lot of people are asking about their gifts today. I love that. I love that. I love that. Um, hello, Courtney. Hello, Mary. Hello, Cara or Kara. Hello, Aspen, and hello, Christine again. Yes. Wow, everyone's asking about their gifts. I love it. Okay, let's go in. Let's go in. Let's go in. So, with opening up the energy, hello, Kevin, and asking about your gifts, you can pop down your birthday if you want, and that gives a little bit of the numerology perspective. Or you can ask for just a general reading with like tapping into things, or a card reading. Okay, so you get to ask sometimes with what you want. But let's go in. All right, so let's start at the top of Jennifer. She is open to hearing what she needs to hear in her journey. Okay. Thank you. You're always helping to make me feel balanced. I don't think I read that the first time. Wow. You're welcome, Jennifer. Just thank you, Jennifer, and you're welcome. And thank you for you saying that. So it's like the exchange of thank you and you're welcome, like full circle. Thank you. That's very, very kind. I'm glad that there's good vibes cultivated. Okay. We're going to pick one more card. Okay. All right. So what I'm getting is there's emphasis on, refocusing the mind, getting your thoughts in order, getting your goals in order, getting really together. Okay? Sometimes we feel scattered, sometimes we feel separate, sometimes we feel overwhelmed, but really it's like it takes mastery to have the mind come together. And then when the mind comes together, it's not the only route, but when the mind comes together, we find ourselves going like, okay, now I have my week with purpose, right? My month with purpose, my year with purpose. And I feel like that's the energy that's really coming forth because you're wondering, what do I need to hear about within my journey? And it's about having responsibility, enthusiasm, and passion for the purpose within your life. And sometimes we're at the point where we go, well, what is it? Okay, maybe I have ideas, but like, what is it? And the what is it journey is really important because you have to be in that question before you're in that answer. And sometimes we want that answer and we go like, I don't know, like if only I knew. And it's just like the knowing is in the question actually, because you start to go, oh, I've never thought about that actually, because you're not putting attention on the question properly because you just want the result. So I want you to focus. I want you to focus on everything that comes up when you think about your purpose, whether if you already have some type of answer or just thinking and feeling and dreaming on it, meditating on it, and see kind of what bubbles up. And all those pieces are going to come together. Even if you write them in a journal and you're just like, why would I ever write this? Why would I ever write that? Write it down. Um, or why would I think about this? Yeah, think about it. If you don't want to think about it, write it down and it'll come back to you later and you'll understand some type of relevance on it later. That's for sure. But what's coming into while this is happening is like you're really hard on yourself about this. You're everyone is going through life and sometimes we feel really good where we're at and other times we don't feel really good where we're at and we want something different. And I feel like you're in this stage where definitely you're like, I want something different. I'm not really loving the day to day as much as I want something different. And so they're letting me know that like career and change. So it's career vocation. So something you're putting all your time and your energy, like a big passion or directly career, like that's really itching up inside of you. And you're like, I want to use the majority of my time for something I really believe in. Like, okay. And the great thing is, I got the times are changing card. So it's like you are creating, you are manifesting, and these things are happening. But as the change is happening, just go easy on yourself. And I tell people this a lot, and it's really, really important. Like when we're changing, we go, I don't really like am a fan of what's going on last year, this year, and I want something different, you still have to enjoy life as you are participating and actively changing it. Because if you're like, I hate my life, the the energy is like womp womp womp. And then the change doesn't come as fast because you're like womp womp womp. And so to be in the enthusiasm of like, I get to take the helm, I get to find my purpose, I get to like I don't like it. Let's change it. I freaking love changing. I I am a fan of changing. I want that. So it's like you get to have what you want. So celebrate that you're making the choice to change what you want. So and just like really, focus on your spirit feeling good, focus on taking care of your health, focus on things that make you feel good because all that stuff will make you more clear-minded because we're talking about refocusing our mind and getting our alignment, right? And all that is just it's so much easier. I know it sounds like trivial, but I can't talk about it enough. When we are sleeping properly, eating properly, doing healthy things within our life, our mind is so much clearer. So even if we're going through bad stuff, we're able to find the exit. We're just like, it's like, you're in a maze and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to solve this maze? If you are in good mental if you're in a good mental place, you're going to get out of that maze a heck of a lot faster. You're not going to overlook the exit sign, you're not going to overlook the clues. You're going to be like, oh wow, okay, I just saw that, better go that way. Okay, so it's very, very, very helpful. All right, all right, let's see who is next. Tina is curious if I have any psychic or spiritual development coming. let's go. Just feeling. Mm. Okay. So, Tina, yes. And the biggest kind of hurdle for that, maybe you've already tackled it, or you're in the midst of it. Um, it's basically like when we want to learn about something and we're like, how do I do it? Or we want to learn about something and we think like, okay, like if I do that, it's gonna kind of look like this. Um, you got the unraveling the mystery card. So it's basically like you can't have a situation come to you and know exactly what it is, especially with the spirit world, especially with psychic development, because that's all about unfurling and understanding these pieces that we haven't integrated ever fully. There's these pieces that we're learning to go, oh, I can do this and I can do that, and this is possible and that's possible. So if we don't know what's possible, how can we ever kind of say, hey, I'm looking for something like this, when in reality, when we get there, we're like, wow, I would have never expected to be like this, look like this. Gosh, this is fantastic. So, definitely, I think that more emphasis within your life and enthusiasm, will like help guide you with saying like, "Hey, I want to take a class," or like, "Oh, there's a crystal," or like more conversations are coming to you from what normally you would just be thinking about when you look at something. It's gonna like spark discussion. It's gonna spark, hey, yeah, I want to do more. And it's going to be very natural. I really feel like that. It's going to be very natural. You're going to find other people around you that are interested in the same things you are. And surprisingly, in the same town you are, it's the naturalness is going to be apparent. So I want to give that to you. And there's kind of like a wobbliness in the physical energy right now. So when I get this card, it's like really, just check on your physical health and make sure that you're doing everything to fully support yourself for your physical health. Because sometimes when, we feel like our vitality is up and down, then we kind of have to press the reset button on what we were looking to expand on. So it's like just really mind your health and just, I wanna say, like, take things easy, but, like, don't take things easy in the realm of your physical health. Sometimes you have to work hard for, like, "Ah, this is a drag, I have to learn how to do this," or, "This is a drag, I have to be disciplined in that." So it's like, I want you to take things easier, and that's very healthy for you, but when it comes to your physical health and some of the things that you've been cultivating with, like, the discipline, that's where some of that stuff is really needed and it will get easier. So, but sometimes first we need like a little bit of more focus. Okay. But I got great cards for you. Like I got the opening light card and the communications card. And that's all about like a new wave of energy is coming. Like this curiosity guides us into the light, right? It guides us into just an opening of knowledge and experience. And it like perks us up and makes us happy. And it makes us see life in a completely different way where we're just like, wow, I feel very thankful for life. And that communication is going to be a little confusing at times. And so it's like we got to seek out people in situations like this to go, oh, wow, that's what that is, right? That's what that is. And it makes it less scary and it makes it more exciting and sacred. And it makes us not to be confused when we're opening up. And there's like this beautiful, different way to live life. So that's what's coming forward. I'm excited. Follow where you're going. Um, with some of these thoughts and feelings of how you want to understand the spirit world more and understand about your own energy more, like really follow that. You popped down your birthday, so let me look at it. So you're an 8 attitude, yeah, and your personal day 8, so you're double 8. And then You're 4, your life path 4, I believe. Let me just double check that. No, you're not. Yes, you are actually. This is where I get a pen. This is where I get a pen. Yeah, you're 4. Okay, cool. So you're a life path 4. So 4 is all about learning. Okay? It's all about acquiring knowledge, and it's about how can I put this? It's about being consistent and learning so that one hand you are fueling the minds and making the minds happy with utilizing it in a way that you can share and learn and teach all these wonderful things, because it's like you pick up so much. You're so detailed, you pick up so much, and you have a wealth of knowledge to share. And the life path of 4 is all about the student and the teacher. So perpetual student, but also high capacity to be a teacher. And with your 8s, like you really, really have a lot of ambition with doing things correctly. You really have, ambition or motivation to have things done in a way where you're like, I can see the things that people overlook. So you like to do things well, you like to do things right. And so within spiritual development, I think that enthusiasm is going to help you, but it's also going to break you open, because there is no logical way to go about this, and there's no set way. It's different for every person. And what people share can inspire certain things of, oh, that is a way. Is it my way? Does it give me perspective on my way? So it can give you that, but it's like you have to like journey through the forest, and you're going to be like, this is not what I expect, right? So I think that's going to break you open in a way, like your mind, because you're so mental based, you're so sharp. It's going to break open your mind to be even sharper. But first, you're going to be like, wait a second. So just, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So let's see. We got Christine next. Christine. She gave me her birthday. Okay. Pop down. And then she was talking about her gifts. Okay. So Christine, your attitude 3, personal day 2, and your life path is a 2 as well. That's right. Okay. So Christine, you're very sensitive. You're very, very sensitive. And that's a good thing. I have a saying. I believe in it. Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. When you're so sensitive, though, life can be overwhelming, right? And we sometimes wrestle and battle with our gifts. And so your life path 2, and your attitude 3, so you're very much connected to people, like very, very, very much connected to people. Like actually, your natural go-to is you want to make people feel better. Okay. And sometimes, since you're so in touch with how others feel, or maybe how you feel, there's like this, there's this kind of battle of empathy, right? Of you're like, oh gosh, is it me? Is it them? I'm just feeling so much. You're aware of that. You just don't feel quite like yourself, or you don't feel like the highest of your enthusiasm or positivity. And you're just like, I'm aware that I'm changing how other people feel because they change how I feel. And so there's like this understanding of how powerful empathy is. And you're like, how do I control my gifts? How do I work with my gifts? And so it's like, we never control gifts. We don't. We learn how to work with them and flow. We learn how to understand them, and we learn how to master them. So when we master, or in the connection of the road to mastery, we understand that there's always something to learn, and to look at something with a fresh set of eyes, rather than this is bad or this is good and I have to stop this and I don't want that and I want more of this. So the mastery just allows it to unfold. The mastery is curiosity with understanding. And so if you can be curious when something goes awry, rather than, "Oh my god, this is awful," or like, "Oh my god, this is great. That's what I want, not this." If you can just be curious from the oddities and the wonders, I actually think that you're gonna get a handle, if you want, per se, on it a little bit differently with going, "Oh, actually, now that I kinda just sit with this and I have this curiosity of even the bad stuff, wow, this isn't mine, or I understand why I feel like this because I'm putting attention here now. Maybe I don't understand everything, but I understand a little bit more now." And so what happens is it allows you to be neutral. You have to be neutral when you have so much stimulus to go, okay, this is this and that is that, or even start to. So I really think that's a huge part. I really think that like you have like mediumship and psychic experiences where you're like, wow, I'm getting something. And so the number one thing is just to understand what you're getting from a place of feeling of, is this me or is this not me? Is this me or is this not me? And since this is not me, then how would I like to connect with this or how would I not like to connect with this? Because you have the boundary and you have the place to say, "Hey, I don't feel like this is a good time for me," or like, "Hey, yeah, I'm really open and curious and I feel like I'm in a good place and what's going on here? And then do I feel safe?" So you have to, when we are overwhelmed and we're like, "Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh," what happens is we have so many emotions going on, and it's so hard to actually make good decisions for our soul in a clear way because we have 50 emotions. How do you process 50 emotions at one time? It's very difficult. But if we start to separate kind of one experience with like neutrality at a time, slowly, not just, it takes, it takes months, it takes years to kind of go, "Oh, that's that emotion or that's why it's coming in." But we get curious, we go, "Oh, okay, it's been a doozy of a day. I am curious, but I'm a little overwhelmed right now, so I'm going to just kind of disengage, but I'm aware that I can pick that up. Do I want to pick that up? I'm aware that I want to pick it up, but I'm exhausted. So should I pick it up?" So I think that you're getting so many different emotions and experiences. And so it's like, it's time to understand about neutrality. It's time to understand about your energy versus another person's energy. And then your emotions versus another person's emotions to help really navigate that. And so I really recommend like going into Reiki or different forms of energy healing because that's all about getting your energy in a certain place where then you can share energy with another person's energy and it gets very very easy to distinguish what another person's energy is versus your own, right? Or what spirits is. Sometimes it's actually difficult to distinguish that too, don't get me wrong, that's a journey within itself, but you start to understand a lot of basics of, "Oh yeah, when I do Reiki, this is the Reiki energy entering my body. Now my energy is changing, and now I'm sending out this energy to another person. Wow, I'm aware of there's different energy things going on." And the more that I do this, I start to understand that it's just there's a lot going on, and I'm able to observe this and that and this, and now I have a better understanding. So I really highly recommend that, and I hope that makes sense. Okay, cool. Tina says, "Wow, cool. I'm glad." Jennifer says, "Thank you. That helps a lot. Good reminder from in the future." Okay, I'm happy to hear that. As long as it resonates, everyone. As long as it resonates. Okay. So Courtney, she's saying, asking, "What gifts should I focus on?" So I'm just gonna talk about whatever I feel. Everyone has so many gifts that need to be explored, and we have all these abilities, and part of them is finding that way for ourselves. Like, no one can tell you what gift you should explore on. Like, ultimately, I can give you like some things that are popping up, but it's really just, a good teacher or a good reading is just a reminder of things you already know or a connector to things you already know. You could be like, "Wow, I never thought about that, but that makes sense because I already like this." Oh, I never thought about that. That makes sense because I'm already good at that. Like your gifts are a play upon what you're already good at. They're usually not something very surprising. Everyone has the ability for this work and everyone would be good at something within this work. If you are a mailman, I know this sounds weird, but there's actually a story that goes along with this, like a quite famous one too. Like if you're a mailman and you are developing mediumistically or psychically, you're gonna have, and you're really good at it, and you're good at like addresses and directions, and you just really know how to map out a neighborhood because you're driving, and right, and think about it, maybe like you had to do this before GPS, so your brain was like a map, right? You can use that in your mediumship. And there's like, in England there was a famous medium. I just, it's referenced by people at Arthur Findlay College at times. I think Tony Stockwell references it, and like Lynn Probert has referenced it. But there's this medium, and I don't remember his name. God bless him. Um, and this was a while ago. This is like this is like 50 years ago. This is quite a bit ago. He used to bring in spirits' addresses, like for evidence, like, oh, your loved one, there's a connection to, 2400. He would have lived at 2400. That would have been the address right by his door. Do you understand that? Or his mailbox would have been green. Do you understand that? He would have lived like in the countryside. And in countries like, so as said, United States is huge, right? So many different states, territories. It's huge. But in a place like England, it's much smaller. It's much, much smaller. It's like the size of one state. Th- they had so much familiarity with regions or neighborhoods that it wasn't uncommon, not even for the mailman medium with that background, but for other mediums to say, hey, like, I think your loved one would have been connected to this neighborhood, or can you understand that this region, it was very, very specific with geographical information or neighborhood information. So it's like, even if people are mechanics and they're working on cars, they're just going to be like, your father, like, and they love cars. Your father drove a Chevy. Your mom drove a Studebaker, right? I'm seeing a red car for your uncle, a green car for your brother. Like, they're just able to go there because they look at that all day. They have looked at that all day long. So it's like, everyone works with energy. Everyone sees and feels and experiences the reality a certain way and has talents within the reality we share on earth. And so when they get sensitive to energy, they're just able to work with those same things in a different capacity, and all that information can come forth very easily. So when you're asking what gift should I focus on, honest, any place you've ever had joy and just excitement, or you're like, as I'm here with people, as I'm here with a person, I'm able to very easily and naturally do the job well. I'm just able to see the forest through the trees. I'm able to see the full spectrum. And people benefit from the fact that I'm able to do this. I make people's lives easier. I make people smile. I make people go, wow, thank you. I needed that. That's what you should focus on. So let's pull a card with that in mind, okay? Everyone's asking about gifts a lot, so it's like that. I needed to talk about that. This is for Courtney. I want to pull one more card. Okay. So this is interesting. I got a lot of time cards for you. Time is a fun thing. Time is an illusion. It's a construct, but it's a reality with how we perceive things. Now I'm getting very philosophical. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of time issues here where it's like, I would like to do this, but I don't have the time. I'm changing, but I'm not sure when's a good time, right? I want to do something different, but I have to really plan for it. And it's just like, sure, I get that. I think the same way when I'm reevaluating my life, don't get me wrong. But you kind of just have to go after things that like you want to be doing. And this doesn't have to be career always. Like just could be like, I want to go take a pottery class because I rock at making things. I promise you, if you're in a place that you rock at and it makes you feel like $1,000 or like a place that gives you so much joy and fun, you just are in the energy of more things that are opening up. How can I put this? When you're in a place, anyone, when you're in a place where the energy, it's not purely easy, okay? It's not purely easy, but when you're like having fun and you're like, I like this, this is good, it makes you more accustomed to energy that is joyful. It makes you more accustomed for energy that is more open. It makes you more accustomed to harmonious energy. And all those energy streams are going to be present in your gifts. Wow, I feel like I can just do this. Wow, this gives me joy. So it's like you need to actually put yourself in situations where you have more joy because it leads you to that compass. It leads you to sharpening your compass with understanding, where should I be? So I'm seeing I pulled a relation excuse me, I pulled a vocation card. That could be also talking about reevaluating relationships. Okay, so we're gonna put that out there for you. But also, I got the vocation career card, and it's about like, what do I want my path to be? And really, the time is to explore. Welcome and embrace it. The time right now is to explore. The time isn't like time's ticking away. No, it's all about exploration. So I want you to get out there. I do feel like it just I feel like creativity makes you really happy. So I would lead you more to creative things rather than logical things. And I do think like there needs to be more engagement with people. I think people help speed up our journey and they help make us see things that we just could not see ourselves. I think you're quite good with people naturally, but you haven't been around people as much as what can help open you up or lead you to other opportunities. So I want to just put that out there. So I hope that makes sense. That's what comes forward with talking about gifts for many people and for yourself too. Oh, Tina's like, I'm a mail carrier. Okay, cool. We we have a mail carrier reference. I love it. Um, worked in healthcare prior and often tell people someone I was sick in other ways could okay, and could often tell someone was sick in other ways. Yeah, yeah. Abilities cross over. Like look into that. Look into that. If you're able to do that, Tina, then develop those psychic gifts. That means like you're really naturally connected to the body. You're really naturally connected to sensing when things are out of alignment. Like you might notice things, smell things, feel things within someone's physical constitution. That's real. Okay, let's go to Alex. Alex wants a card reading. Currently concerned with anxiety or career. Thank you. Okay. All right, let's pull some cards. Oh, yeah. So, I feel the anxiety. I do. I feel like my stomach wants to it's like my I'm feeling a lot of energy in my stomach where things are not digesting properly. It could be from the anxiety or the sometimes digestion when our digestion is not good. It can amp up anxiety. I think that there's this relationship going on. So it's like I'm not digesting things and it's making me actually really prone to feeling nauseous. It's making me really prone to feeling just overwhelmed and like dizzy at times. So it's really, really important to just make sure that what we're digesting or even what supplements that we're taking are being taken a certain way where it's really harmonious with our bodies. Maybe we need more liquids, maybe we need more foods that help us digest the things properly, right? Or certain foods that really are in harmony, not causing inflammation, not causing distress, because I just think it's all correlated with how it makes us feel. And I'm just aware of my head and my stomach don't feel right. My head and my stomach don't feel right. And so some of these things are physical health things that actually could be tweaked or looked into, where we're handling our body with more gentle care. Because sometimes little things we just don't even think about it and they're really causing havoc. I want to, I'm going to give an example. Like, I knew someone who would drink orange juice like every day before they went to work. And that was like their ritual. And that was just something they're like, hey, it's orange juice. It's good for me. Like, it helps. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. They didn't have a lot of time in the morning, but they took their orange juice. And then they noticed they started feeling like nauseous a lot when they went to, school. They started feeling even a little dizzy. And it was because the orange juice was not sitting well with them on that empty stomach. And so they would have like this feeling routinely. And so they eliminated the orange juice and they're like, wow, I feel fine. I thought the orange juice was working for me, but it really wasn't. So there's something like that. There's something that's going into your body that's messing with I'm telling you, it's like maybe it's supplements too, but it's like there's some food that's kind of messing with your body that's actually kicking up you to feel additional anxiety. I'm aware that my sinuses feel off. I'm aware that my head feels weird. I'm aware that my stomach feels weird. So I do want to give that to you. And I want you to kind of really be in touch with how you feel and when things enter your body, how you feel. Okay. So there's that. And then let's see. Oh, I got the cards. Wow, there's a lot of things going on in your life too, where there is a bunch of stressors. So sometimes when I'm talking about the things that I'm talking about, they're not even looked at because you're just so stressed in other categories. So I do feel like, yeah, I do feel like there's a lot of expectations being put on you through relationship, family. There's a lot of expectations being put on you, and you're trying. It's difficult. The matter of fact is, it's just difficult. And when things are just difficult and we have so much pressure, we feel like we're being overwhelmed and we feel like we're drowning, really. And the fact of the matter is, things are crumbling, but things crumble when we need to build anew, start anew, and it calls us to have a new foundation. So it's a really actually difficult time, but instead of allowing things to keep overwhelming you and you having the same outcomes, you're going to be overwhelmed currently already because it's difficult right now, and sometimes life is going to feel that way. So I'm sorry that that's really rough, but we can try different outcomes. We can try different daily routines. We can try different choices. So that's what I'm giving to you. It's I got the tearing apart card, and that means things are being like kind of ripped from you, and it feels even more uncomfortable. But as things are changing, what happens is it invites you to change because we have to build something anew. So with all this, if you can find a place where you can etch a sketch what's going on to a certain degree, like, I'm getting this, but look, I'm gonna do a blank slate on some of the things that I can work with, and just, okay, I have some type of control within certain categories. I'm gonna make some drastic changes. It's already wonky, but let me get a handle on some things. Let me get my footing on some things. And I just really think, like with family, there's a lot of support within family, but there's a lot of pressure with family. And sometimes we do have to take a step back from the advice that family is giving for us and really kind of go, all right, I'm going to try a different way, my way. And it's going to be something different than I've ever done before. So it's going to teach me, do I really have good instincts with this, or do I need help? But I need to know that for myself so I stop fighting it. Okay. Sometimes we do need help with someone to give us a perspective of go and give us the opportunity that makes things much easier. Sometimes we need a helping hand, and they provide us something when we did need the help. So I need you to take a step back. I need you to try things that you haven't been trying before. Give yourself a give yourself a blank slate and understand where your instincts are at and what kind of help you do need or what kind of decisions that you need to make that are new. And it's going to help you navigate this job question, because right now it's so overwhelming. I don't think the job thing can be looked at with the same ease of accomplishment. It's too stressful. It's too anxiety riddled right now, and your body needs a lot more balance. Okay, so get your body well, calm those high energies, and really look at some of the things that were mentioned. All right. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Wow, we are at the ends already. Wow, wow, wow. So I'm going to pull one quick one for Dorothy, and then we'll end on that note. Always pull one quick one at the ends. Okay, so Dorothy, I got some really loving cards. So I got the needing a friend card. So when I get this, it's kind of like you need some more encouragement, you need more connection in your life. So whether that is a human that can facilitate that, like having a friend, seeing someone out for lunch, right? Increasing your social calendar, increasing things that come to you socially is really, really important for your well-being, your emotions, your mind, your just wellness. It could be an animal, right? It could be an animal, but regardless, it has to be something that kind of gets you out of the house and into the world with others. It could be the vehicle of an animal. It could be a vehicle of a friend, though, but really getting out and having more social interaction and experiences. And ultimately, I got like just the love card, how that all comes together. And like love is healing, love is graceful, and it really helps like even out um you know the rough edges of life. It really does. There's tremendous healing with others, and to be brave or to mix up your schedule enough where you open yourself to what's a different way that love can find me. Because when you find good people, gosh, it is powerful. Gosh, it is powerful what they can do for you and what you can do for other people. And so love yourself and love others. And it is as simple and difficult as that. That is very true. But I invite you to open the door to more relationships where you can actually receive love as you give it and that healing capacity. So, with that said, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your kind comments. And I hope that there was perspective. And I'm really wishing everybody to get in touch with their gifts. Like, please go out and explore the world, take classes, and just validate your skills with the ones that you already have, because it's most times an extension of exactly what we've been experiencing within our own life. So look for that. Kevin saying thank you. The show goes quickly. Thank you, Kevin, for saying it was helpful. The show goes very, very quickly. I agree. And Alicia, she just came in. If you have a question, we're on every week. Please come on by, Alicia. I want to say hi if this is your first time here. Oh, it is your first time here. So I want to say hi to Alicia. And everyone, please have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. I will see you on Friday. And with that, go with love, luck, light, laughter, and don't forget to live, everybody. See you on Friday. Take care.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.